Wonderful. All right. So we're talking about the sounding of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. The previous mimer, we learned about how the sounding of the shofar is a preparation for the big shofar that's going to be in the coming of the Mashiach, and what the connection is to the lost people in Assyria and Egypt. But here we're learning a little bit different. Here we're learning, the topic of this mimer is what exactly happens when we sound the shofar. So it's based on the sentence from Psalms. The sounds, it says, sound on the month, the shofar. B'ches, on a special day for our rejoicing. It says the word ches also means concealment. This is the holiday that the moon is concealed on it. Rosh Hashanah, the first day of the month. Only holiday in Judaism that's on the first day of the month when the moon has been concealed. And the Rabbi also points out that the moon also represents God's kingship. And God's kingship is, so to speak, hidden before Rosh Hashanah, and we arouse it by sounding the shofar and saying the sentences in Musaf about the shofar. And this gives us the power. Tקעו means to be strong, powerful. בחודש, that we, the Torah, the mitzvahs that we do, it's always brand new to us. Those were some of the topics that he covered in these paragraphs. We'll see. Maybe we'll do Chazorah. Then the Rebbe said, what is this idea of time? He doesn't really explain here what time is. There's another book which is called Ateret Rosh. It was written by the second Rebbe of Chabad. And he explains there the idea of Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of time. Shana means shinui, time. And he says the time is the interaction between the physical and the spiritual. That's what he explains over there in the Maamar. The spiritual is infinite. Different levels of infinite, but it's infinite. The physical, but it's alive. It's alive. The physical is finite. And it's dead. But on the other hand, that's the creation. God wants there to be a creation. So how does he unite the spiritual, which is truth and it's eternal, it's infinite, with the world, which is very temporal, temporary, very, let's say, untrue, alma de shikra? How do you unite the two of them together? So it says the uniting comes by what's called pulsation. Rotze v'shov. The Mati v'lo Mati explains that the life force hits the physical, the spiritual hits the physical, makes an impression, and then it goes back. Then it hits it again, and it goes back. Hits it again, and goes back. That's the pulse of life. Hits it and goes back. And how this is going to be in the whole year, this is determined on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of this movement of spiritual into physical, and then the spiritual goes back to its source, and that keeps everything alive. How it keeps it alive, that's determined on Rosh Hashanah. What's going to be? It's going to be a good year. But that's not explained in this mimer. This mimer talks about what, in general, the whole idea of time is a creation, he says. Time is a creation. And on Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate and we participate. We become partners in God in the entire creation, whether physical or spiritual or temporal, even time. He says that's the reason why Rosh Hashanah is the sixth day of creation, when man was created. Right? If so, why do we say that this is the first day of creation? Why do we say it's a remembrance for the first day of creation? What's going on? It's the sixth day of creation. So the Rebbe says, let's go to here. Let's start from here. Hagam, even though Shabriat Kol Olam, the creation of the whole world, all of it was the first instant of the 6 days of creation. Like it says, Breshis Bor Elokim et Hashemayim V'Aretz. In the beginning, everything was created, heavens and earth. Kol Shechina, much more so that then